grade school, I used to love science courses, biology, physics, chemistry, and then mathematics. I was very good at those 4 courses in grade school. So I always used to tell my parents, I want to be a medical doctor. So my parents were like, okay, you continue. Yeah. But I went through a lot of difficulties. My mom fell ill when I was 12 years. She was very ill. And unfortunately, I was 5 years when my mom and my dad separated. Yeah, so my dad had a different wife, and my mom was ill. She was not in a position to really help. I grew up under difficult situations, especially during refugee days, because I was a refugee in Guinea, the Republic of Guinea. I was in Guinea. During the 14 years of civil crisis in Liberia, I was a refugee in Guinea. So being a refugee and having your both parents are no longer together, so many a time things were very difficult. But good of it, during the refugee time, we were not paying school fees. Education was free. The international community, through IRC, was providing free education. So I was in a school that I was not paying fees, but just to go to school. But you will not believe that many days I will come from school without getting meal to eat. I have to go to other friends in the community, and if they are working for their parents, I join them to work, so that when their parents provide food for them and they share with me. So when I completed my high school, I said to myself, yes, I still need to pursue my dream. Yeah, but there was no assistance from anywhere. I couldn't get assistance from anywhere. So I was like, okay, that can't stop me. So I managed to enroll in a vocational institution where I did auto mechanic. I studied auto mechanic for 2 years, and I worked as a mechanic for like 2 years. But then while working as a mechanic, there was this spirit that kept telling me, this is not your calling. You need to leave this field and get back to your calling. And I kept telling myself, yes, this is not my calling. So I resigned from where I was working as an auto mechanic, and they were paying me $50 United States per month. It was nothing, but I had to manage it. So in 2005, at the time, the Tubman National Institute was giving a placement exam. I decided to write the exam. With the little money I had, just around $250, I paid for the entrance fee. I wrote the exam and kept praying to God. God, help me. I want to be a medical practitioner. Yeah. And as God could have it, I was successful. My name came out. I enrolled in TNIMA October 2005, and I managed to go through the various stages of the study. As God could have it, I didn't have any hindrance during my time of study. Every semester, all of my courses, I was passing all of my courses every semester. So in 2009, I managed to graduate from TNIMA as a physician assistant. Sometime in March 2013, the Ebola viral disease hit Liberia. I was in the position of doing advocacy. I was advocating on behalf of healthcare providers in general to the international community to provide personal protective equipment for healthcare providers to be protected while they are providing care to the patients. I was also advocating to the international community to provide incentives and better compensation for those healthcare providers who are risking their lives on catering to the Ebola patients. And I was also involved in visiting a lot of healthcare institutions, making sure that healthcare providers who are there are actually on job and taking care of patients. So it was a very hectic situation for me. Many days I didn't sleep at home. I was always in the dark, moving from one health facility to another health facility, moving from one radio station to another radio station, advocating and ensuring that healthcare providers stay in their various hospitals and health facilities to cater to the patients. Yeah.
Was that a difficult time for you to be out and like that? I mean, it must have been kind of scary.
Yeah, the difficult time for me actually when I served as the president of the Physician Assistant Association was that on many occasions, numerous occasions, my colleagues were calling me that they were not getting their salaries. They needed me to have talked to the government, the Ministry of Health, to pay their salaries on time. Many a time, these physician assistants are in the most remote part of the country where they don't have internet access. Some places they don't even have, it's not possible for them to even communicate to their relatives on mobile phone. And in these rural places, they were also compelled to provide lodging for themselves, paying rent, and the rest of the feeding themselves. And you will not believe that sometimes 2-3 months they will not get salary. So they were actually stranded. My lines were always hard. People calling, Jerry, you need to talk for us. We are stranded. There is no food. There is no money to pay our rent. We need to see the patients. There is no drugs in the health facilities. And it was a very hectic situation.
If you were to go into the isolation centers right now, you will see the number of our colleagues, health workers, who are now lying in isolation centers there from the infectious Ebola virus. How many have died? Yet we are willing to go out there to fight. And yet we go hungry and come back home hungry.
So what happens on the workflow is the voice of the workers are never heard. Our masters, our bosses do not want this thing to change because they are the ones who are supposed to provide trainings, in-service trainings for the workers. They are the ones who are supposed to provide the necessary working conditions. They're supposed to provide the workers the tools and everything that makes working easy. But they are not doing that. And because they know if they allow us to speak, then the people will know exactly that these things are supposed to be done and they are not being done by the government. So what they instead do is they continue to make it look as if everything is well on the workflow. But things are not well on the workflow, and that is the situation we have in Liberia. And as a result of that, when the Ebola came, too many of our colleagues died. As you can see on the listing here, you see Liberia. There's a lot of health workers who died from Liberia of Ebola because of lack of protective equipment. The workers knew there were no protective equipment, and we were all calling for protective equipment. But nobody listened to us because they didn't want to dialogue with us. They wanted the world to think that everything was perfect in the health sector in Liberia, but that was not the case.
I got infected from a colleague of mine, a nurse. I can remember it was on a Friday night. I was on duty, and I met her in the ER, and I was like always going closer to her, doing her assessment, and I didn't know that I was playing with danger. And so after a few days, this lady died, and she was tested positive, of the Ebola virus disease.
One specific patient I interacted with, he was very ill, and I helped establish IV, and he died of the disease. So it was kind of alarming and frightening for us, for those who provided care for him.
About 10 days, I started experiencing, those constitutional signs: fever, joint pain, abdominal pain. I mean, the temperature continued to go up to 40, 41. I called my supervisor and said, I think I need to go to the ETU. And he said to me, you need to take some malaria pills and you'll be okay.
So I did the malaria rapid diagnostic test, and it was positive for malaria. So I started experiencing weakness 2 days after taking the malaria medicine, and the headache was still consistent. So I wanted to go to one of the Ebola treatment units to get tested. But each time I would bring the idea, I would suggest the idea to my parents. I mean, they would flinch it away because the issue of Ebola at the time, the stigma was so very high.
And I mean, nobody, for the fact that community members know that you are in the ETU, in fact, your family is totally been isolated. No one wants to speak to your family, and they call your family names, and you yourself being in the community, they call you by names. Oh, that Ebola boy, Ebola man, Ebola woman, Ebola girl. More besides, getting Ebola wasn't by, just a choice, okay? 99.9% of people who came down with Ebola were people that were providing care. They were helping someone.
There were fewer ambulances in the country at that time responding to the Ebola outbreak. So normally if you call for the ambulance, it's going to take like several days or even maybe a week. What I decided to do, I wore a long sleeve shirt. I looked for a glove, and I called up as much as possible so as not to infect anyone while in the process of going to seek care at the Ebola treatment unit. I chatted or texted when I was sitting in the front seat. My fiancée was at the back and the driver. I was sick, honestly, because I've been having like almost 2 days diarrhea at home. So when I went to the ELA hospital, the ETU rather, I met the guys there and I got down. I displayed to them my lessons as a PA. They couldn't accept me. Yeah, I was downhearted, but what could I do? So on the 4th day again, it was November 10th, I charged another taxi, and I went back to the same ETU. I underwent treatment for like 2 weeks, and I mean, I came so very near, close to death.
For me, I was like admitted on the 28th of June at the GFK, at the old chloride unit. We had a chloride unit here, and I was actually released from that area on the 16th of July, 2014. And after my own release, we have been engaged in a lot of our activities. We also took the responsibility to go back and serve our people, looking at people dying. We believe that we are some way immune to the virus, so we'll be less at risk to take care of those who are infected. And so a lot of us, including him, a lot of survivors, PAs, went back and started to provide clinical care, psychosocial, health education, awareness, stigma and discrimination, and I mean so on. Actually, I did not want to be a survivor, okay? And I don't think anyone would like to be a survivor. But you would like to be a survivor when you are infected. Yeah, so you see that once you are infected, you want to be a survivor, but I never want to be a survivor. So I always told people that, you know, for people who sometimes look down on Ebola survivors, you know, I always told people this, and I think we can all live together, you know, and we can do better, you know, in one accord.
It's just that PAs have become so essential to the system. You see the physician assistants providing service in areas where many doctors would not want to go, in remote areas, in very low resource areas. They are very dedicated and committed to what they do. So they are very essential to our system. Without the PAs in our system, we would really have a major challenge. Yeah.